Fame can make people seem untouchable, but even the most admired lives can end without warning. In just the past few months of 2025, the world has lost several well-known figures, some in sudden, shocking ways, others after quiet struggles hidden from the public eye. Their stories reveal how fragile life can be, no matter how bright the spotlight. In this video, we'll look at 5 famous people who died recently, and the real events leading up to their final days. It was September 18, 2025 in Nashville, Tennessee. Brett James Cornelius, a 57-year-old country music songwriter, was preparing for what looked like a simple flight. Brett wasn't just any songwriter. He was behind some of the biggest country hits, including Jesus Take the Wheel by Carrie Underwood and When the Sun Goes Down by Kenny Chesney. That morning, he planned to fly his Cirrus SR-22T from John C. Toone Airport to Macon County Airport in Franklin, North Carolina. With him were his wife, 59-year-old Melody Wilson, and her 28-year-old daughter, Merrill Maxwell Wilson. The flight was meant to be routine, but the three never made it to their destination. Just days earlier, life seemed perfect. On June 16th, Brett posted a photo celebrating Father's Day surrounded by family. Earlier that month, he shared a beach photo with Melody from their trip to the Bahamas, captioned, "So much fun with my love in the Bahamas." The couple lived together in a $2 million home in Nashville and often shared their adventures online. On September 17th, a day before the flight, Melody posted a touching birthday message to her daughter, writing about how proud and grateful she was to be Merrill's mother. That same day, Merrill posted, 28 years old, 142 days sober, extremely happy to be here. None of them knew what was coming. Brett's story began in Columbia, Missouri on June 5, 1968. His father was a doctor, and the family later moved to Oklahoma, where Brett graduated from Christian Heritage Academy. He attended Baylor University, where his parents gave him a guitar for Christmas, sparking his love for songwriting. After college, he enrolled in medical school but changed paths after being inspired at a concert by Steve Werner. In 1992, he moved to Nashville to chase his dream. His first try at being a singer didn't work out. After his label shut down, Brett returned to medical school. But before fully leaving music, he signed a 1-year publishing deal with Terracell Music. One of his early songs, Love is a Sweet Thing, was recorded by Faith Hill in 1999, launching his comeback. By 2000, Brett had dropped out of medical school again to focus on songwriting. His songs Who I Am by Jessica Andrews and Blessed by Martina McBride both hit #1 soon after. In 2005, Brett co-wrote Jesus Take the Wheel with Hillary Lindsey and Gordy Sampson. Carrie Underwood turned it into a massive hit, winning 2 Grammy Awards in 2007. Brett went on to write for major artists like Kelly Clarkson, Taylor Swift, Tim McGraw, and many others. His songs sold more than 110 million copies worldwide. He became one of Nashville's most respected songwriters, winning ASCAP Songwriter of the Year twice and earning a spot in the Nashville Songwriters Hall of Fame in 2020. On September 18, 2025, around 12:41 p.m., Brett's plane took off from Nashville. The 2-hour flight appeared normal, but as they approached Macon County Airport around 2:48 p.m., Brett reported seeing the runway. Minutes later, he radioed again, saying he was at 6,800 feet and planned a full turn before landing. Witnesses near Eotla Valley Elementary School then saw the plane flying low and unstable before it flipped upside down and crashed in a nearby field. No one on the ground was hurt. Investigators found the plane intact with no sign of engine failure. The last recorded speed was 83 miles per hour, far below its normal cruising speed of over 200 miles per hour, suggesting a stall. Possible causes included disorientation or an unnoticed mechanical issue. The investigation remains open. Tributes poured in from across the country music world. Carrie Underwood, Dierks Bentley, Tim McGraw, and many others shared memories of Brett's kindness and talent. He left behind 4 children and more than 500 songs, 26 of which reached #1. That afternoon, in a quiet North Carolina field, country music lost one of its most gifted storytellers, along with 2 people he dearly loved. It was September 25, 2025 in New Jersey. Ace Frehley, the 74-year-old legendary guitarist and founding member of Kiss, was alone in his home studio working on his next solo album, Origins Volume 4. The man who inspired millions of guitar players was doing what he loved most, making music. But that day, something went wrong. Ace lost his balance and fell, striking his head on the studio floor. What first seemed like a minor accident quickly became a serious medical emergency. Born Paul Daniel Fraley in the Bronx in 1951, Ace grew up in a musical family and began playing guitar at 13. By 18, he was a roadie for Jimi Hendrix. In 1973, he co-founded KISS with Paul Stanley, Gene Simmons, and Peter Criss. The group became famous for their theatrical shows, makeup, and leather costumes. Ace's stage persona, the Spaceman, featured silver face paint and a cosmic theme that became iconic. KISS released their first album in 1974. Critics were unsure at first, but fans embraced them, turning the band into a phenomenon. Ace stood out for his raw, unique guitar style and his custom Les Paul that filled the stage with smoke during solos. He never took a formal lesson and couldn't read music, yet became one of the most recognized guitarists in the world. In 1978, each member of KISS released solo albums. Ace's sold the best, and his cover of New York Groove became a lasting hit, still played at New York Mets games after victories. But despite fame, Ace struggled privately and eventually left KISS in 1982, feeling overwhelmed and unhappy. He later formed Fraley's Comet, releasing 2 albums before returning to solo work. In 1996, the original KISS lineup reunited, and Ace stayed until 2002. He wasn't part of their 2022 to 2023 farewell tour, but his impact remained undeniable. Ace's relationship with Gene Simmons had long been strained. In 2019, Simmons said Ace was removed from KISS for personal issues, but Ace responded that he had been sober for 12 years and left on his own. His daughter Monique had helped him change his life in 2006 after confronting him about his behavior. From that day, he stayed clean, crediting her for saving his life. By 2025, Ace was in good spirits. Married to Jeanette and proud of his sobriety, he had released 10,000 Volts in 2024 and was excited about Origins Vol. 4. But after his fall on September 25th, he was rushed to a Morristown hospital with a severe brain bleed. He was placed on life support as doctors provided emergency treatment for his brain bleed. His family stayed by his side: Jeanette, Monique, his brother Charles, and sister Nancy. Publicly, his team downplayed the situation, saying he was fine and only canceling a show in California. But privately, Ace was in critical condition. Weeks passed with no improvement. On October 16th, after doctors confirmed there was no sign of recovery, his family made the painful decision to withdraw life support. Surrounded by loved ones, Ace passed away peacefully at 74. The rock world mourned deeply. Paul Stanley and Gene Simmons called him an irreplaceable part of KISS's history. Peter Criss expressed his heartbreak online. Fellow musicians, including Pearl Jam's Mike McCready and Poison's Bret Michaels, shared how Ace had inspired their careers. A private funeral was held on October 21st in Yonkers, attended by family, friends, and the remaining KISS members. He was buried near his parents in the Bronx. Ace's passing marked the end of an era. The first of KISS's original members to die, he left behind a legacy that shaped generations of musicians, the spacemen who forever changed rock and roll. It was the morning of October 11th, 2025, in Los Angeles, California. Around 8:08 a.m., paramedics responded to a call about a person down at a home belonging to one of Hollywood's most respected names. When they arrived, they found 79-year-old Diane Keaton unresponsive. She was rushed to a nearby hospital, but doctors soon confirmed she had passed away. The world quickly learned that Diane Keaton, the actress who starred in The Godfather, Annie Hall, and The First Wives Club, was gone. Her spokesperson released a short statement confirming her passing, asking for privacy during a moment of great sadness. Days later, her death certificate revealed the cause: primary bacterial pneumonia. She had been sick for several days before her death. Officials ruled it a natural passing, and she was cremated on October 14th. No autopsy was done. To many, the news was hard to accept. Diane had always seemed full of energy and warmth. Her family later thanked fans for their love and shared what mattered most to her in recent years: caring for animals and quietly helping the homeless. They encouraged donations to food banks and animal shelters instead of flowers. Behind the scenes, friends revealed that Diane had been ill for a while. One close friend said her health had declined suddenly, while others admitted they had no idea she was struggling. Her family had kept things private. Musician Carol Bayer Sager said she last saw Diane a few weeks earlier and was shocked at how much weight she had lost. Earlier that year, her Los Angeles home had been damaged by wildfires, forcing her to move temporarily to Palm Springs. The stress from the move and her illness seemed to take a toll. When she returned home, even close friends noticed how frail she had become. Her final public appearance was in April 2025 at Jack Nicholson's birthday party. Actor Ed Begley Jr. recalled seeing her there, describing her as a wonderful lady, deeply loved by her peers. Tributes soon flooded in. Leonardo DiCaprio called her brilliant and authentic. Bette Midler described her as funny and completely original. Francis Ford Coppola said she was creativity personified. Director Nancy Meyers remembered her as fearless and said her laughter could brighten anyone's day. For Al Pacino, though, her death was deeply personal. They had met while filming The Godfather in the early 1970s and shared an on-and-off relationship for years. A source said Pacino considered Diane the love of his life and regretted never marrying her. Born Diane Hall on January 5, 1946 in Los Angeles, she was the oldest of 4 children. Her father was a civil engineer, and her mother, Dorothy, was a homemaker with a love for art and music. Inspired by her mother, Diane pursued acting early. After high school, she briefly studied drama in college before moving to New York to chase her dream. She took her mother's maiden name, Keaton, and joined the Broadway musical Hair in 1968. She later appeared in Woody Allen's play Play It Again, Sam, and gained attention for her charm and humor. Her big break came in 1972 when Coppola cast her as Kay Adams in The Godfather. Her performance led to decades of success, with major roles in Annie Hall, Reds, Baby Boom, Father of the Bride, Something's Gotta Give, and Book Club. She became known for her honesty, humor, and unique fashion sense. Diane never married but adopted 2 children, Dexter in 1996 and Duke in 2001. She often said motherhood was a thoughtful choice, not an impulsive one. In her later years, she focused on her family, writing, photography, and architecture. But by late 2025, her health declined rapidly. When emergency services arrived that October morning, it was too late. Pneumonia had done too much damage. Her death left Hollywood in mourning. Friends and fans remembered her not only as an actress, but as a person who lived honestly and on her own terms. Diane Keaton was 79 years old. She left behind her children, Dexter and Duke, and a legacy that continues to inspire those who value creativity, strength, and authenticity. It was September 16, 2025, in the quiet mountains of Utah. The morning was peaceful around Sundance, a place forever tied to one man, Robert Redford. That day he passed away in his sleep at home, surrounded by loved ones. He was 89 years old. His publicist, Cindy Berger, shared, "Robert Redford passed away at his home in Utah, the place he loved, surrounded by those he loved." His family requested privacy, saying he died naturally in his sleep. The world had lost an actor, director, and environmentalist who shaped film history. Born Charles Robert Redford Jr. on August 18, 1936 in Santa Monica, California, his story began far from Hollywood. His father worked for Standard Oil, and his mother encouraged his creativity. When he was still a teenager, she passed away after a difficult pregnancy, a loss that deeply affected him. Redford attended the University of Colorado but was expelled for poor grades and drinking. He then traveled across Europe, where he developed a love for art and painting. Returning to the United States, he studied acting at the American Academy of Dramatic Arts in New York, a choice that changed his life. In the late 1950s, he performed on Broadway in plays like Tall Story and Barefoot in the Park, the latter later becoming a film with Jane Fonda in 1967. His early television roles included Alfred Hitchcock Presents and The Twilight Zone, but his big break came in 1969 with Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, alongside Paul Newman. The movie turned him into an international star, and the character's name would later inspire the Sundance Film Festival. Through the 1970s, he starred in classics like Jeremiah Johnson, The Way We Were, The Sting, The Great Gatsby, 3 Days of the Condor, and All the President's Men. His calm intensity made him one of Hollywood's most respected figures. By the 1980s, Redford turned to directing. His first film, Ordinary People in 1980, won 4 Academy Awards, including Best Director. He went on to direct A River Runs Through It in 1992, Quiz Show in 1994, The Horse Whisperer in 1998, and The Legend of Bagger Vance in 2000. Redford said he never liked fame, calling it a distraction from his craft. In 1981, he founded the Sundance Institute, followed by the Sundance Film Festival in 1984, a home for independent filmmakers. Movies like Reservoir Dogs, The Blair Witch Project, and Whiplash all started there. His personal life carried heartbreak. He and his first wife, historian Lola Van Wagenen, lost their first child, Scott, in infancy. In 2020, his son James passed away from an illness. He and Lola had 4 children, Scott, Shauna, James, and Amy, before divorcing in 1985. In 2009, Redford married artist Sybil Saggers, whom he met at his Sundance Mountain Resort. Together, they created art focused on nature and environmental awareness, a cause he championed throughout his life. He co-founded the Redford Center with his son James in 2005, supporting films on environmental and social issues. Over the years, he received the Presidential Medal of Freedom, an honorary Oscar, and many other lifetime awards. In 2018, he retired from acting after The Old Man and the Gun, though he briefly appeared in Avengers, Endgame in 2019, and Dark Winds in 2025. When news of his passing spread, tributes came from Meryl Streep, Jane Fonda, Leonardo DiCaprio, and former presidents. They called him a legend, a true artist, and a voice for nature. Robert Redford was buried privately at his home in Sundance, the same mountains that shaped his legacy. He left behind his wife, daughters, and grandchildren, along with a lasting belief that art can inspire change. He once said, "The glory of art is that it can not only survive change, it can lead it." And for more than 60 years, that's exactly what he did. It was July 5th, 2025, in Birmingham, England. Ozzy Osbourne, the 76-year-old rock icon known as the Prince of Darkness, sat on a black leather throne before 45,000 fans at Villa Park Stadium. His body was weak, but his spirit was strong. That night, he gave everything he had for one final performance. No one in the crowd knew that just 17 days later, Ozzy would be gone. Ozzy had been struggling with health problems for years. He was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease in 2003, a condition he publicly revealed in early 2020. The illness affected his movement and steadily worsened over time. He also suffered major back injuries after an ATV crash in 2003 and a serious fall in 2019 that required multiple surgeries. By 2025, he could barely walk, though his wife Sharon said his voice remained untouched. Born John Michael Osbourne on December 3, 1948 in Birmingham, Ozzy grew up poor. He was one of 6 children, battled dyslexia, and left school at 15. He took factory jobs, worked in a slaughterhouse, and even spent time in jail for theft. Nothing about his early life hinted he'd become one of rock's biggest legends. In 1968, Ozzy joined Tony Iommi, Geezer Butler, and Bill Ward in a band first called Pocatello Blues Band, later renamed Black Sabbath. Their sound was dark, slow, and heavy, something completely new. Critics mocked it, but fans loved it. Heavy metal was born. Their first album in 1970 became a hit, followed by Paranoid in 1971, which topped charts in the UK and reached number 12 in the US. Ozzy's raw, instantly recognizable voice became the band's signature. But fame brought chaos. Ozzy's alcohol and substance use spiraled, and in 1979 the band let him go. His career could have ended, but Sharon Levy, daughter of the band's manager, believed in him. Under her guidance, Ozzy released Blizzard of Oz in 1980 and Diary of a Madman in 1981. Both were massive successes, saving his career. Over the years, Ozzy's antics became legend. He accidentally bit a real bat on stage in 1982, urinated at the Alamo, and pulled outrageous stunts on tour. But there were darker moments too, times when his heavy drinking nearly destroyed his life and marriage. After a serious incident in 1989, he entered rehabilitation and changed course. In 2002, MTV's The Osbournes introduced a new side of him, a confused but loving father and husband. It reignited his fame and made him a global name again. He even met President George W. Bush and performed for Queen Elizabeth II. Though his health declined in later years, Ozzy kept performing, even reuniting with Black Sabbath for tours and releasing a final album, 13, in 2013. When he got the chance for one last show in Birmingham, he accepted without hesitation. On July 5, 2025, 5.8 million people watched online as Ozzy sang 4 classics: War Pigs, NIB, Iron Man, and Paranoid. His voice was strong. His eyes filled with tears as he told fans, "Thank you from the bottom of my heart." It was his final goodbye. Just 17 days later, on July 22nd, Ozzy Osbourne passed away at home after a cardiac arrest caused by heart disease and complications from Parkinson's. He was surrounded by family. Tributes flooded in from across the world. Tony Iommi said he had lost a brother. Elton John, Brian May, and countless others honored him as one of rock's greatest. Ozzy left behind Sharon and 6 children, and a legacy that reshaped music forever. He once said, "At least I'll be remembered." He was right. Not just for the wild stories, but for the music that defined a generation, and for the man who gave his final song from a throne, tears in his eyes, thanking the world one last time.